Welcome to the Thursday edition of Bet. I, Tyler Fulghum, have upgraded my co-host here, Joe Fortenbaugh, on vacation. So what better time? We talk about live dogs all the time on this show. What better time than to bring a real live dog onto Bet? This is Mazel. Everyone say hi to Mazel, our new co-host on Bet while Joe's on vacation. Check out Mazel. He's a therapy dog, Michael's Angel Paws, and it makes one of us because he's never peed in the house. Sorry, Mom. Sorry, Dad. You know, my issues when I was 10, 11, 12. But I am happy to have Mazel join us. The reason why is we got to break down the Westminster Dog Show. And for me, Mazel would be best in show here today. Not me or Joe Fortenbaugh, but we're going to have Anita Marks in the house, who is the Uber dog mom. You guys already know that. She's got like 19 dogs that are always running around. She's going to join the fun and help us break down the actual Westminster Dog Show. So it's going to be a fun show. Dalen Cuff, the pup daddy, Royce Young will also be involved to talk about other things besides four-legged furry creatures. But Mazel's going to be the best, goodest boy. Hang out there, and he's even going to help us out with a little pick a little bit later in the show for the Westminster Dog Show. Good boy, Mazel. By the way, dog show usually held in February at Madison Square Garden. Because of the pandemic, it was moved to Tarrytown, New York, to be an outside venue, and it's going to take place this week in June 12th and the 13th. Now, let's bring in our good friend Anita Marks, who I am not a doggy daddy. She is the Uber dog mommy, and I think she may have at least one of her pups there. Anita, tell us who you got, and tell us who his or her brothers and sisters are in the Marks clan.
Oh, she just growled a little bit. I don't think she's like being on TV on the big screen. But so this is Suki. Suki is a Chihuahua, and she's 12 going on 13, and this is how she likes to travel in my little doggy Bjorn. She's not used to being in it inside. We're usually outside. But she is a Chihuahua. She's only 3 pounds, and she's the alpha of the house, and she rules the house. I have another one. Oh, hold on one second. Let me get you. You're really gonna like this one, okay, Tyler, because this is my oldest dog. This is Billy. I named her after Billie Holiday because I lived in New Orleans for 3 years, and she's 20 years old. So 20. Calculate what that is in human years. Yes, so it's 19 times 7 plus 1. Do the math. That's how old she is in human years.
133 years old? Oh my!
Oh man, you're smart.
Well,
that was
you already
fast.
Gave me the age
okay,
earlier.
so I'm gonna take Suki out of this because she's not enjoying it as much inside as outside. And I'm gonna. Oh, this is my old girl. This is Billy.
Hi, Billy.
Hi, sweet girl. And Billy is a rat terrier. And she's blind. That's why she's kind of looking around like, what's going on here? And she's kind of deaf. But man, she's amazing. And she's 20 years old, and she's a rat terrier, which, by the way, rat terriers got their name from the President Teddy Roosevelt's term. He had a few rat terriers in the White House, and they rid the White House of rats. And so that's how they got their name.
I did not read that in my AP history book, but I'm glad that you hooked me up with that knowledge there.
Right,
Billy, don't look a day over 13, by the way. You look great, girl. There's more? There's more? Holy cow.
Are you kidding? I have a farm. So this is Satchmo. Satchmo is 6. I named him after Louis Armstrong because I did live in New Orleans for 3 years. And he is a 6-year-old Chihuahua. Isn't he handsome? He's the athletic one out of the bunch. He's the stud. I take him to the dog park. All the girls love him. Frankie, come here, Papa. Come here. Come here. And then my youngest is a little camera shy. Hold on one second. Let me get him. So.
Speaking of camera shy, our buddy Mazel's just chilling, living the good life.
This is Franklin, and Frankie is a long-haired Frankie. So when he was a baby, he had blue eyes, and I live in Hoboken, and Hoboken is the birthplace of Frank Sinatra. So I named him Frankie after Frank Sinatra, and he is a beautiful, as you can see, long-haired Chihuahua, and all he likes to do is cuddle.
So perhaps some history made on ESPN today, Anita. The humans are outnumbered by the dogs 5-2, so This could be good, this could be bad, but good boys and girls in your squad. We got a great boy here in Mazel who's going to help us out. So let's dive in to the 2021 Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show. Here is the odds boards. Now, I must make this disclaimer. These are not odds you can go to William Hill, Caesars William Hill, and bet. We just had a friend hook us up with these odds here. But the dog breeds you see on the screen there, the Samoyed. I thought it was Samoyed, but apparently it's Samoyed is the breed that has the shortest odds. And then we go to Italy, the Legato Romagnolo, or I like it with, the puttanesca sauce and the pesto. That is 11-1. Then 12-1, the Dandy Denmont Terrier. And then my favorite, the Pekingese. I'll get to that in a second. You see the Scottish Deerhound Boston Terrier and the Pulick there as well. Anita, give me since you are the Uber dog mom again. My brother had a dog, and I was kind of like an uncle to it, the cool uncle. That's kind of the role I like to fulfill in my family. But you're an actual dog mom. So I'm going to yield to your expertise here. Break down that odds board and what you see and what you might be wagering on.
Absolutely. So Striker is the name of the Samoyed, right? Is that,
Samoyed,
let's just
very
go
good.
with Sammy. That is the favorite. All right. Big, beautiful, white dog. This is a dog from Siberia. Sometimes the temperatures there get below 60, so this is pretty interesting. One of the attributes is that this dog has a smile, and the reason being is so that when it drools, it prevents icicles from forming on the side of its face. Talk about evolution, right?
But this Mother Nature never loses.
Right, it's unbelievable. 14 best in shows, 34 working group first places, and 50 best of breeds, all the way up to May 1st. There's a reason why this dog is favored. So
Striker, the
that's
name
first
of
and foremost.
Sammy. I personally, like terriers, I hear, as you know, are a breed that often does very well. And I believe you said you had a terrier. I can't remember now after getting 4 reeled off the top of your head. Why are terriers so beloved at the Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show? Do you have any reason why that is?
Yeah, I mean, listen, the terrier dominated. Keep in mind, this show has been in existence this is the 113th best in show. Or I should say, we're going on 114. There's been 113. This has been around for a while. And the terrier, because the terrier is such a mix of so many breeds, first and foremost, the terrier dominated all the way until like the mid-60s. And then also, keep in mind, when judges watch these dogs, when judges look at these dogs, it's not just dogs that are pretty or that, have a great coat or are cute. It's about the dog's personality as well. It's about the attitude. It's the way that the dog interacts with the owner as well. And so terriers have this really great personality. They're very confident. They're very kind. They walk in with a lot of swag. Nothing rattles them. And so that isn't. This is what the judges tell me. This is a big reason why terriers win, because they walk in when they have to do that prance. And they walk in, and keep in mind, the show is Madison Square Garden. A lot of people, a lot of energy. It spooks dogs, and terriers don't get spooked. And that's a big reason why they've been so dominant.
Anita, it makes me think of NBA, WNBA players doing the walk underneath the tunnel to the locker room with their dripping and swag. That's like part of the experience of going to an NBA or WNBA game now, is watching superstars walk in and the attitude, the swag, the dress that they're wearing for that night's game. So we know terriers have dominated because of what you said. What about some dogs or breeds that have had some surprising unsuccessful attempts to win best in show? I mean, like, I think of a golden retriever, for instance. That's like a quintessential American family dog, and a golden retriever has never won best in show at the Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show. Rottweilers, I mean, these are popular dogs, but they've never won. So these long shot odds, I mean, break it down, Anita. Why are these dogs struggling to win?
That's a great question. I don't know, but if you go back to last year, listen, we were all in the middle of a pandemic. I think more people who were stuck at home tuned in to this Best of Show, the Westminster Best of Show, more than ever before. Because if you recall, Daniel was trending on Twitter, and Daniel was the most adorable, beautiful, loving golden retriever that made it to the final 3, made it to the final 2, but unfortunately lost to an American Standard Poodle, black American Standard Poodle. Kind of looked like a scene out of Zoolander, if you ask me. But I was rooting for Daniel to win last year. Unfortunately, he did not. But he stole the hearts of many who were home watching, that's for sure. It was so close, but no cigar, Tyler.
All right, like your pups have stolen our heart like Mazel is doing here. We're 10 minutes now into the show, and it's called Bet. So, Anita, we got to drop some bets on the people here. I'll start with you. I'll go next, and then Mazel is going to share your best bet for the 2021 Westminster Dog Show.
Yeah, I'm going with Striker. I'm going with Sammy. And just to share a few notes with you, like I said, 15 best in show, 34 working group first place, 50 best of breeds. And one thing in taking a look at the judges, especially the final judge, who's going to be, if you recall, I'm sure, Tyler, you've seen it at the end, you've got like the 3 best dogs, and they kind of have to do that final lap. The main judge at the end of the show, who's going to decide the best in show, from what I understand, loves the hound groups. So she's going to put a lot of emphasis on dogs that have a lot of powerful, efficient movement. I'm reading this word by word on the conversation I had today with some people who are really in the know. So the Sammy's group is going to have a huge edge with the judges, on top of the fact that this dog is absolutely beautiful. It's 10-to-1 odds. It's great odds. I hate to go chalk. You know me. I don't typically do, right, but I'm going chalk here. I think Striker wins it this weekend.
The depth of knowledge, the history that you've given on this is second to none, Anita. I'm not surprised. My best bet, I'm going to go with the Pekingese. And I don't even know what a Pekingese looks like, if I'm perfectly honest with you. But my favorite movie from childhood, that's a Pekingese, adorable, is Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. And you may remember when Ace Ventura met Roger Podacter for the first time, Roger was recommended to Ace by Martha Matz, and Ace goes, "Martha Matz? Oh yeah, Pekingese, hyperactive, lost in Highland Park area. She was half dead when I found her. Is that the take over there? Alrighty then." I love that line, and I didn't know what a Pekingese looked like till now. I don't know its name, but at 14-to-1, I'm going to roll with the Pekingese. You're rolling the Striker, the SMYTHE, and now we need, from the man who would know better than most, how about Mazel, who is actually a dog? Mazel, who are you picking to win the Westminster Dog Show? Oh, you like the German Shepherd. Well, you're kind of a German Shepherd breed, so I get it. 30-to-1, Mazel's going to roll with the German Shepherd. We appreciate the excitement and enthusiasm you're bringing to Bet today, Mazel. It is fantastic. Mazel, you have done a great job filling in for brother Joe Fortenbaugh. I am going to ask the ESPN execs that you just keep that chair right there for the next week while Fortenbaugh is on vacation, because you, my friend, are a co-host that I like. You let me talk is basically the issue. All right, Mazel, great job today. Thank you for your picks. And just a reminder, here is what we have. Tyler Fulghum, Anita Marks, and Mazel, our dog today, as our best bets for the Westminster Dog Show. Anita's going chalk. She said she doesn't like it, but she's going with the SMYTHE Striker at 10-to-1. I'm going with the Pekingese at 14-to-1 because I don't know dogs, and I know a Pekingese was once a lion in Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. And Mazel, who is actually a dog and would know better than anyone else, is going with the German Shepherd at 30-to-1. Best of luck to you if you're wagering on the Westminster Dog Show. All right, let's pivot away from creatures to actual human beings. Let's welcome in a good friend of ours who has helped us out many times before, Dalen Cuff. Now, Dalen, Mazel stole the show. You're a great co-host, but I'm sorry, man. I feel like it's a downgrade going from Mazel to you. But talking Euro 2020 on the pitch is going to be fun. So let's start with this.
Hold on real quick, Tyler. Whoa. Hold on a second. Following that act right there, I should have just disconnected and walked away. This is not good for me to follow that act right there. Mazel, you're doing a hell of a job. You did a full reenactment of Ace Ventura. You nailed it. Well done. Pekingese, hyperactive, Highland Park area. Phenomenal. I shouldn't be on right now. This is a mess, but I'm doing it. Let's go.
Do you have a pup, by the way? Are you a dog dad?
I'm allergic to dogs, so not a big dog guy. So on top of that, really wasn't my segment, but you know what? It's entertaining as could be. I enjoyed the whole thing.
Speaking of Ace Ventura, quite literally stings the nostrils when a dog is around Dalen Cuff. All right, Euro 2020 is why we have you on Bet today. We appreciate the time. Let's start with the defending champs. Dalen, would you bet Portugal at 8-to-1 to make it out of Group F? Many are calling it the Group of Death because they share it with France, Germany, and Hungary.
Yeah, I think they're going to get out, and here's why, Tyler. They expanded Euros about a decade ago from 16 teams to 24 teams. So now they're only really whittling it down. 8 teams are getting axed. So you have 2 teams getting out of the group for sure, then the top 4 third-place teams. What sets up well for Portugal is the fact that they're going to be against Germany, France. Obviously, it's a huge group, but they also have Hungary in their group. They're going to take care of Hungary. They're going to get a win there. That gives them 3 points. Maybe they draw with France or Germany. Bear in mind, this is a better Portugal team, actually, in terms of talent than the 16 club that won. They were so reliant on Ronaldo. They were very defensive. They played a counter-attacking style, and they did it to great effect, and they won tight games. This is a more talented team, so I think they're capable, without a doubt, to get out of the group and move forward. They're 8-1 to win it all. I don't like that, but I think they're going to get out of their group with one of those 4 third-place teams, or maybe they're the second-place team. Bear in mind, Germany is not exactly world beaters, although they were in 2014. 2018, they crapped out of the World Cup. They're trying to figure out themselves, trying to push out the old guard, bring in new players. They haven't been great, so Portugal to get out of their group is a good bet.
Dalen, what team, as we continue looking Euro 2020, which you will see on the ESPN family of networks, what team is not getting a lot of recognition or pub right now, but the markets indicate people should be paying more attention?
France is a deserving favorite, Tyler, and they are sucking up a lot of the oxygen. Spain's got COVID issues, and they've obviously been great in the past, and people are talking about them. Belgium, I think, is a team that I like to win it all. They're plus 600. This is their golden generation. Now, Kevin De Bruyne is one of the best creative midfielders in the world, plays for Manchester City, was hurt in the Champions League final, got a head-to-head collision, had a small little surgery done. He won't play in the first game, but he'll be fine, supposedly, to come back in. Eden Hazard, one of the most electric players in the world, hasn't played like that since going from Chelsea to Real Madrid the last 2 years. He finds form, which he has usually as the captain of that Belgium club. They could be really good, coupled with Romelu Lukaku is probably the best striker in the world if you're looking for a golden ball, in terms of golden boot for the most goals scored. He's a good bet. I believe he's the leader in the category, plus 600. Maybe the most informed striker in the world, and they also have one of the best keepers in the world, in Thibaut Courtois, with a bunch of veterans. Yes, a little bit older in the back line, but veterans. They're the #1 ranked team in the world. I think they will be the team that prevails, and the reason I'm picking them instead of France, I like them, but those 2 teams, look at the bracket, folks. The bracket's already out. You can already see where teams are going to be slotted based on where you think they're going to finish. I think both France and Belgium win their respective groups. They would meet before the final. And that's why I'm picking Belgium, not France. I think Belgium can win that game, and I like them going all the way.
All right, Dalen, one thing people love to wager on is a long shot. In the 2016 Euro, Iceland was that team that most surprisingly advanced out of group stage. They're not in this year's field, but what team in 2020 could be this year's Iceland?
It's funny, Tyler, because the Euros, it's every year. It's almost every year it happens. It was Iceland and Wales in the semifinals. And in 2008, it was Turkey and Russia in the semifinals. In 2004, Greece won the whole thing. It was a shock. So you always have these kind of crazy runs in the Euro tournament. It's more difficult than the World Cup because the quality of competition in every match is just a little bit higher. I like Denmark. I think Denmark got a Group B. They're going to be in Belgium's group, but they have Russia and Finland, 2 of the weaker teams. Finland's never been in an international competition at this level. That's their first opponent, and they get off to a good foot. Off on the right foot. Denmark has a bunch of guys, almost all but 3 play in the top 5 leagues in the world. Christian Eriksen, one of the best creative midfielders in the world. They've got a good experienced keeper in Kasper Schmeichel and a lot of great players in between there. I think that's a team that can finish second in their group. And again, look at the bracket where they've set up. The second in their group will be second in Group A, which is probably Switzerland or maybe Turkey. Really like that matchup for them to get to the quarters. And then if you look at the bracket again, the winner of Group C could be the Netherlands. The Dutch, I couldn't be more out of the Dutch, folks. Frank de Boer, as a manager, has been terrible. Last 3 stops he's been at, he's made this team look so defensive and so poor. If they win their group and somehow advance against a third-place opponent, I love that matchup. Or I like Denmark playing a third-place opponent if it's not Portugal, as we talked about earlier. I think they can make it to the semi. And plus 800 is great value. I think they would be that team we're going to be talking about in a month that was the sleeper that came and made some noise and went deep.
All right, Dalen, finally, all kinds of ways to wager on Euro 2020. I'll keep the dog theme going. Put your paw, however, on a best bet, one that you have to take to the window.
This is a sad bet, to be real with you, man. I'm going with the lowest goal-scoring team. I'm going to go with ineptitude. That's what I'm talking about right now. And it's Hungary. They're the favorite in the category of plus 450 to have the least goals. But you look at their group, and people say, well, that's an obvious pick. Again, France, Portugal, and Germany in their group, and lowly Hungary. Now, granted, Hungary's playing all their games at home, Tyler, in Budapest with 100% capacity rules. That place is going to be going bonkers. That said, you got to have the ball to score. And France is going to be a more talented team. They like to play in the counter unless they're a more dominant team, which they are. They're going to have the ball. Germany's going to have the ball. Portugal's going to want to possess a little bit more, I think, going into this tournament, especially against an opponent like Hungary in a game that they really have to win. to keep pace, as we talked about before. So I think Hungary's going to struggle to score. Maybe they get 1 or 2 on a set piece at best, but I think this is a team that could really labor to have the ball and score the ball. And at plus 450, they still give you 4.5 times your money. I really like that bet. That's my best bet going into this tournament.
And we can be bullies sometime betting, but if it cashes, it cashes. Our guy on the pitch, Dalen Cuff, best in show when it comes to wagering soccer here or football on Bet. Dalen, we appreciate the time, my friend.
Anytime. I'm no Pekingese, but I'm doing what I can.
You're a handsome devil, that's for darn sure. All right, let's switch now to the association, away from the pitch, onto the hardwood. The playoff slate in the association. You can see all these games Thursday and Friday, today and tomorrow, on the ESPN family of networks. To break it down on Bet, we welcome in our good friend Royce Young, who joins us now. And Royce, we got to ask you before we start anything, are you a dog dad?
I regretfully say I'm a former dog dad. Rest in peace to my Great Dane Wrigley. We lost her a couple years ago. She was a wonderful pup, and we miss her every day.
Rest in peace to Wrigley. This is for our friend Wrigley. Royce, we appreciate you taking the time. Let's get to the association. Nets. They are a small underdog despite being up 2-0 in the series as it goes now till Milwaukee. They get 3.5 points despite the way they've looked so far in game 1 and 2. How are you handicapping game 3 given how the Nets have looked and the fact that they're an underdog?
I think there's sometimes a natural inclination to kind of remember the last thing you saw when it comes to an NBA playoff series. And to me, that's the most dangerous thing you can do, especially when you're betting on a game. Because NBA momentum in a postseason series, it really doesn't exist as much as people think it does. Look, Brooklyn looked dominant, especially in game 2. They made the Bucks look basically inept as an offensive team. But as Milwaukee transitions back to home, they've been a very good home team all year long, 26-10 in their home building. I actually like the Bucks to win the game and to cover the line, just because basically this is their season. And for a team that has put so many eggs in this basket, trading for Jrue Holiday, what they've done to surround Giannis, we spent a whole series talking about all the adjustments Mike Budenholzer had made to really boost the Bucks back up in their series against Miami. And now that didn't just disappear. We know the Nets are good. We know they're only going to get better as James Harden gets closer to playing in the series. But I like the Bucks to respond here because to me, this just doesn't seem like a team that's going to get swept.
Regardless of whether or not the Bucks respond, and I do think we'll see some response from this team, they're better than what they've showed in the first 2 games. I'm going to go back to some trends I've been riding when James Harden is out, which is the case, along with Jeff Green for Game 3. Kyrie Irving soaks up the playmaking that Harden leaves on the floor, and Kevin Durant soaks up the bulk of the scoring left on the floor. So I'm going to play over 32.5 points for KD. I'm going to play over 6.5 assists for Kyrie. They got to 32 points and 6 assists in Game 2, but they didn't play the fourth quarter. So with the game probably being closer and getting fourth quarter minutes, I think those are some soft lines to attack on the Brooklyn side. Let's move to the Western Conference now, Royce. We got the Jazz as 3-point favorites. The Clippers are dogs in Game 2 after the Jazz won a thriller behind Donovan Mitchell and his 45 in Game 1. He was the alpha in that matchup, no doubt about it. How are you playing Game 2?
Yeah, 3-point dogs, by the way, with Mike Conley already being ruled out for Game 2. So I think that kind of shows that there's a lot of belief in this Utah team. And maybe there's a little more skepticism than belief when it comes to the Los Angeles Clippers. But I like the Jazz to win the game and to cover. And mainly the reason for it is, look, for one, selfishly, I picked the Jazz to win the series in 6 games. It would help me a lot if they went ahead and won Game 2. But look, what we saw from Donovan Mitchell in Game 1, he has flown so far under the radar when it comes to our perception of what we see as a playoff superstar. And the proof is in the pudding when it comes to Donovan Mitchell. He has the 40-point games to show it. And we saw his ability to step up, to take on the challenge of what the Clippers could throw at him in terms of their wing defenders, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard. Ty Lue is going to make adjustments. He did a wonderful job of it in the series against Dallas. He may go with smaller lineups. They may try to find a way to expose Rudy Gobert in space, but Utah is excellent on their home floor, and I don't even think that they played their best game in Game 1 against the Clippers. And the Clippers right now are a little physically and mentally exhausted. I think the Jazz are going to take it to them a little bit and maybe run away with this one in Game 2.
I'm with you here, Royce, and I think behind their alpha dog, Donovan Mitchell, I'm going to keep riding him to just score at will. Even though you're right, there's great defenders, and Ty Lue will make some adjustments. We saw it with Doncic in the first round. If you're as good as Doncic or Mitchell, you can score against this team. So I'm going to play over 30.5 points for Donovan Mitchell. I'm going to play over 3.5 three-point field goals made, because if he gets 30-plus points, he's likely going, 4 of 10 from downtown. He's averaging 10 three-point field goal attempts in this series, and he's basically at a point per minute on the floor since he's returned return for the postseason, and he'll be on the floor for more than 31 minutes, rest assured, in this Game 2 matchup. Finally, back to the Eastern Conference, we have the series traveling to Atlanta, 1-1 split between Philly and ATL in the first 2 games in the city of brotherly love. The Hawks are a home underdog, getting a 1.5. They have not lost a game in Atlanta, by the way, since April 15th. That's 13 games, Royce. Game 3 is on Friday night tomorrow. What are your thoughts?
It's tough for me to go against my guy Trae Young, but I really think that the way that Philly played in Game 2 really kind of showed the power of that team. And Joel Embiid is getting healthier by the day, basically, and he poses such a matchup difficulty for the Atlanta Hawks. And with Clint Capella, yes, he is a wonderful defender, but there really is no one-on-one defender for Joel Embiid. And there's a reason that the Philadelphia 76ers were the best team in the East all season long. And I think at some point, we're going to see the Atlanta Hawks show some of their youth. And with this game being such a close call, I like the 76ers in the game, just basically because they have more veteran presence, they have more proven scores, and while, yes, Trae Young is an electric light show in the postseason, and we've seen Bojan Bogdanovic step up in big situations, we've seen John Collins playing extremely well, we've seen DeAndre Hunter stepping up. I just fear the Hawks' youth in this big game. Sometimes that home crowd can work against you when you feel the pressure of walking back onto your home floor, you're confident there, but you also feel like you've got to establish momentum. So I'm going with the Sixers here.
Yeah, I'm with you. Very simply, Joel Embiid has not been stopped. 39.5 points per game in this series. His point prop is 32.5, and until the Hawks show me they can stop that, I'm just going to auto-lock that in. So I'll go over that point prop for Embiid. That is Dog Daddy of Wrigley Young, once upon a time with us here, but now watching from above. Proud and happy of the job you did for us here on Bet. Royce, we appreciate the time.
You bet.
All right, let's move from one postseason to the next. We now usher in the Puck Daddy. We know he's the father of vulcanized rubber. Are you daddy to any doggies out there, Greg Wyshynski?
I am indeed. I am a father to a little mini Australian shepherd named Sneakers, who is precocious and wonderful. And fun fact, has eaten both a New Jersey Nets hat and my Social Security card over the last few years. So a terrific dog.
The goodest boy, isn't he? All right, let's get into what we brought you here for. NHL postseason, Golden Knights tonight on their home ice. It should be awesome down the street at T-Mobile Arena. They are laying 140 in this matchup against the Avalanche. What's your best bet in this do-or-die Game 7?
I like Vegas on the money line, and as you can tell, it's moving there. It was 135 earlier today, now 140. Look, they have controlled this series for the last few games. Of the last 12 periods played at 5-on-5 between these two teams, the Vegas Golden Knights have had the expected goals percentage advantage in 10 of the 12. So they've been dominating play. As you know, in the National Hockey League, if you're on home ice, you get the last change. You get to deploy your guys to answer who your opponent has on the ice. And that's a huge advantage for Vegas in this game against Colorado. They've been able to shut down star Nathan MacKinnon and his offensive line by being able to match against them either Mark Stone's line or Jonathan Marchessault's line, to match against them Alex Pietrangelo and Alec Martinez or Shea Theodore on defense. They're going to be able to do that all game, and that's a huge advantage as well. And then plus, they're just a dynamic defensive team. 1.83 goals against average for the Vegas Golden Knights at home in these playoffs. So it's all trending in their favor. I think they're in the Avalanche's collective heads. So I like Vegas to close it out tonight in Game 6.
Yeah, and I apologize. I said Game 7. It just feels like a Game 7 around Las Vegas because of the way people are treating it around here, with the opportunity to advance to the next round for the Vegas Golden Knights, who have reeled off 3 straight wins against an Avalanche team that was amazing all season long. All right, Montreal is awaiting the winner of this Game 6 tonight between Vegas and Colorado. Now, we have not, as you know, Greg Wyshynski, and many of our friends to the north bemoan, we have not seen a Canadian team hoist Lord Stanley's Cup since the Canadiens did it back in 1993 behind guys like Kirk Muller and Patrick Waugh. They are plus 850 to lift the Stanley Cup. But to do that, they'd have to get by either Vegas or Colorado. Are they capable of taking out the winner of Game 6, this series we're seeing between those two teams?
I'm trying to get excited for Montreal. I actually have a column up on ESPN.com today giving you 10 reasons why I guess you can root for them. They're not really that exciting. They're kind of like a defensive-oriented team. They're not a star-studded team. They've been playing in that North Division, so a lot of us haven't seen a lot of Montreal this year. Do they have a shot at beating Vegas or Colorado? Well, I do think they have a shot at beating Colorado. Montreal's defensive fundamentals plus goalie Carey Price, I think, gives Colorado the same types of problems Vegas has given them insofar as shutting down their great offensive players. If it's Vegas getting through against Montreal, I really like Vegas in this series. I think the Golden Knights have the kind of balance that gives Montreal trouble, and they're able to kind of grind out victories in the same way that Montreal does. Plus, I gotta be honest with you, a little bit nervous about the layoff here for Montreal. They swept Winnipeg. They're gonna be out of action for at least 5 days, maybe even 6. That break in momentum can also be a factor in maybe them not coming back and finding that groove again so quickly.
All right, we have the Tampa Bay Lightning still around. They are the defending Cup champs, and they're your favorite once again with the shortest odds at 2-1 in Vegas. That's tied with the Golden Knights, by the way, for shortest odds. Andrei Vasilevskiy has jumped over Nathan MacKinnon for the favorite to win the Conn Smythe. And Puck Daddy, last year before the postseason and the hockey bubble, you predicted Victor Hedman correctly would win the Conn Smythe Award. So let the bettors know who you're sniffing out as the Conn Smythe winner before this bad boy started.
Well, before this bad boy started, it was Austin Matthews who lost in the first round. And so we can't go with him anymore. But I'll tell you this, there's some interesting players that are on the board for playoff MVP right now. As you mentioned, Vasilevskiy being one of them. Nikita Kucherov, I think, is a really good alternative if you think the Lightning might win the Cup. He's at plus 750. He leads the playoffs in scoring right now. Mark Stone of the Vegas Golden Knights. I think there's going to be a lot of love for Marc-Andre Fleury to maybe win the Conn Smythe if Vegas wins the Cup. Mark Stone, though, is a real heart and soul player for this team. Would not surprise me to see the media bestow the Conn Smythe on him with his play on both ends of the ice. The other two options that I find interesting, if the Islanders or the Canadiens win the Cup, I feel like it's going to go to one of their goaltenders. You can get Semyon Varlamov right now at plus 1,000 and Carey Price at plus 900 from Montreal if you think one of them Cinderella teams is going to end up leaving the ball with the Stanley Cup at the end of the day.
Well, let's talk about the team the Lightning has to go through to get back to the Cup final. The Islanders plus 220 dogs in the series. How do you see it playing out? Who wins and in how many games?
Boy, I'll tell you, I just got done watching the Islanders take apart Boston in that series. The games at Nassau Coliseum are going to be a madhouse. It's a great home ice advantage for the Islanders. So I do think this could be one of those series where both teams hold serve on home ice. I like the Lightning in the series. I think it will go 7 games, very tightly played. But the difference between Tampa Bay, Boston, and Pittsburgh, the two teams that the Islanders eliminated in this postseason, is the Lightning are so deep offensively. They've got guys throughout that lineup that not only contribute offensively, but have contributed offensively in previous postseason runs. When the chips are down, they have the types of players to finish their chances. And keep this in mind about Tampa. One of the best teams in the playoffs at creating high danger scoring chances. The Islanders, I don't believe, top 5 in preventing them. The Lightning have finishers, and that's going to be the difference in this series, but I do think it's going to go the distance.
Dog Daddy, Puck Daddy, not your daddy. It's Greg Wyshynski here with us on Bet. Puck Daddy, we appreciate it, man. Enjoy the rest of the NHL postseason. We'll be chatting again soon, I'm sure.
Anytime.
All right, that does it. I mean, the great number of guests that we had. No Joe Fortenbaugh made it even better. Mazel, love you. You're welcome to sit by me anytime. Bet will be back next week. Joe's still on vacation, so excited to see who joins me from the studios here in Las Vegas overlooking the link. Enjoy your weekend, everyone. I'm out.